Well, I would guess that there's nothing accidental in the fact that Club Paradise is virtually a roster cast of members of SCTV. Director Harold Ramis, no accident, I guess, right?
No, when we had to pad out our cast with funny hotel guests, I turned to the people I know the best.
And the fact that it was you coming to them, I suppose, was it a natural that they would move heaven and earth to get out to Jamaica like that?
No, well, it took a lot of convincing, actually.
You're kidding?
Rewriting
Jamaica?
Oh, well, yeah. But, it sounds like fun shooting a film in a beautiful place, but it's still 14 hours a day.
Now, for those of us that are maybe not likely to get to Jamaica in the immediate future, tell us something bad about Jamaica. I mean, did it get boring for you sometimes? Anything?
No, it's pretty great. Yeah.
How great? Did you want to leave? I mean, was it time?
This was tough. There was such a great family feeling among the cast, both the ones who knew each other well and the ones who had just met. By the end of the shoot, people did want to stay. It was very tough to leave. And it is a beautiful spot, no question about it.
In some of the things that you've said about yourself, you describe yourself as more of a leisure comedian. You've talked about that, maybe a laid-back, quiet style. And yet on film and in your work, there are madcap moments. Are we tapping into two Harold Ramises here?
Yeah, I'm kind of a split personality. My fantasy life is very active and physical, but in reality, I am kind of restrained in a way, I suppose.
Well, it makes me wonder maybe who some of the role models as comic and creative comic people have been for you as you've been growing up in this business.
Well, I grew up on the Marx Brothers, really, and and Hardy and Chaplin and Keaton. This was, when I was a kid, television was new and they couldn't license Hollywood films, really. So a lot of silent comedies were shown on kids' shows, and my father always loved the Marx Brothers, and he had several brothers, and I always thought there's this kind of conjunction in our families. He even looks a little like Groucho.
Well, now that you mentioned the Marxes, did anybody ever suggest to you that you might make a good actor to portray George S. Kaufman sometime?
I've heard
you look a lot like him.
I heard the Kaufman thing, yeah. I haven't read his biography. There's some things about his life I heard that were pretty sensational.
Oh, there could be a lot of sex in this picture.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I didn't want to mention it. But yeah, I've heard that. But they were my models, Marx Brothers. I love their films. I like class comedy. You know?
Yeah.
The idiots winning in the end makes me happy.
What about the SCTV bunch? Is there any way we can typify these characters as good material now for you to work with as a director? What about them made them ideal for your purposes?
Well, they all play a variety of characters, and they really fall easily into different roles. They all are so experienced at doing Second City Television. They've produced, written, and directed their own pieces. They're very skilled, very professional, and yet confident enough to improvise and take a chance with unscripted material.
Of course, you have to be willing then to let them do that, or you can encourage it.
Well, there are times when you've written a scene you think is good, you put it up to rehearse it, and you realize it's not as good as you thought, and then you really need your actors to come up with something.
Why aren't you in this picture, too?
I can't handle directing and acting at the same time. I'm not that confident as an actor. I need a strong director to tell me what to do. I've only worked for Ivan Reitman in films and Stripes and Ghostbusters, and he's been very good about directing me. If left to myself, I'm not sure I'd be that good.
But we've already talked about a bit of a divided quality maybe in your temperament. You couldn't split enough to direct yourself. Huh?
Not sure. The part I would have taken would have been the part of Andrew Martin's husband, which is kind of a downbeat role, very much in my range, and it didn't need me. There's not much I could have brought to it, and I really wanted Stephen Campman to play that part.
Well, like the Admirable Crichton, he really blossoms out there in the jungle, doesn't he? He has a chance to grow a little bit.
Yeah, he has his moments, yeah.
Okay, is a project like this to be regarded by viewers as kind of a sort of a home movie where a lot of people get together and get crazy, or are you here to assure us now that there's a lot more to movie making than that, and as madcap as it can be, a lot of planning has to go into it?
Oh yeah, nothing is accidental in a film. You can't bring 100 people into the jungle and then just say, let's wing it. I mean, you really got to know what you're going to do. There's a lot of preparation time on a set, lighting and moving cameras around, which is used for a very carefully prepared improvisation. It's not that much fun. Making movies, as most actors will tell you, is complete drudgery and a real chore, and by the end of the day everyone is totally exhausted, especially in a hot tropical climate.
I'm going to switch topics on you now, if I may, because with the Statue of Liberty observances coming up, we've been drenched in patriotism, Statue of Liberty and all that. I think as a comic writer, that you must find all kinds of potential in here. And I'm wondering why there hasn't been a film or a TV special done yet, maybe lampooning a lot of this. What are the possibilities?
Well, I know Alan Alda took a shot with Sweet Liberty. I
True.
haven't seen it, but
But the statue especially, you know?
yeah, I have nothing to say about it really. I think I've spent 4th of July in New York. A normal 4th of July is total insanity in New York. I can't imagine what this celebration will be like.
Will anybody be able to move
I
1
doubt it.
inch anywhere?
I doubt it. And it's great to be standing in a crowd of literally 1 million people along the East River there. And they're actually civilized. People are feeling good about it, and no one got hurt. I was amazed.
Does it tempt you, however, to maybe show up with a camera over your shoulder and maybe, I mean, it's going to be wild. You might be able to get some great stuff, some B-roll, as they call it.
I would think so. But no, it's not my field, documentary.
On the whole, you'd rather be on a beach.
Yeah.
Will there be an opportunity like this maybe again in your career to be able to spend a Caribbean vacation substantially on a movie?
We're planning a comedy set in the Mediterranean.
Is this life tough or what? How are you able to do this? What is it about your career that gives you the power now to say, okay, let's do this. Let's go.
Well, movies have to be made somewhere. I mean, a lot of people think L.A. is paradise.
Yeah, but some go to Chicago in the wintertime,
No, there's an old
Detroit.
there's an old screenwriter's rule I heard once. It said never begin a script by saying it was a freezing day in Detroit, because you might just have to make the film, you know. So
There you go.
always begin it was a beautiful sunny day in the tropics.
Oh, now, is that the way the next one will begin as well?
No, these are. I don't know. Maybe I gravitate toward these films because I have a longing to escape from my own career or something. But this is my way of working off that fantasy.
All right. It was a wonderful comic day in the tropics, and we've been talking to Harold Ramis, who's directing Club Paradise from New York City. I'm John Tibbetts for KCTV5.